Thanks for joining us again today. And I'm Jason Mashroli. I'll be the host, and you're at the Launchpad webinar for today. Before we jump in, I just want to highlight a couple upcoming events. So we've got our provider spotlight, another one coming up on March 24th around payment investigations with Avances. And then at the end of March, we've got a Launchpad Live community call with our existing providers and developers. Follow us on LinkedIn and make sure that you register for those as we get closer to those events. But with that, we'll get started. So today we're going to focus on really rethinking workflows in SaaS, leveraging AI Blueprint, agentic automation, and really working with one of our longtime Launchpad providers, which is Aaseya. We've had a great collaboration with Aaseya over the last couple of years. And one of the things that they've done has been really innovative in terms of how they've looked at the area of inspections, and they've built out a product on Launchpad called aHawkAI. And so we're going to spend time really featuring that, digging into their story, understanding really where they saw the opportunity in the market, how they're leveraging Launchpad, and really how they're helping out clients and envision where they're going to go in the future with that solution. So pretty exciting. I'm happy to jump in quickly here. So I'm happy to be joined by DiLullo with Aaseya. He's the head of North America sales. And I also have Tim Miranda. Typically, Tim and I are doing these things as a co-team. And he's a fellow solutions architect with Launchpad, been with Pega for a long time, and really deep expert on Pega technology and Pega capabilities, and is part of the Launchpad provider success team. And again, I'm Jason Mashroli. I run go-to-market, and I also oversee our corporate venture fund, Pega Ventures. So with that, we will get into getting started. So the agenda looks long, but we're going to move quickly through and keep it interesting and keep it engaging. Really, as I said, today is all about featuring what Aaseya has done innovatively on the Launchpad platform. And so really, we're going to set kind of the context in terms of what the market is around inspection and compliance workflows. We're going to basically talk a bit about Aaseya and how they're building aHawkAI, and really why they've chosen Launchpad as their platform of choice to build that capability. Look at the product, show you how it was built, show you how it's delivering innovation in the market, and then wrap up, and we'll have time for questions at the end. And so with that, I will jump in and hand it over to you, Stan.
Sure. Thank you, Jason. So, hi, everyone. The aHawkAI was, founded out of inspections. Inspections apply to a very broad range of industries, addressing critical imperatives such as safety, quality, regulatory, operational compliance, and even more. Fire and safety, health and food protection, municipal, county, state zoning, environmental, construction, civil engineering, and really product manufacturing as well. So next slide. So what are the challenges that we're addressing with the inspection processes? Well, one, they're very manually intensive and filled with inconsistent guidelines. They struggle to support centralized management and performance reporting. Corrective actions are inconsistent, prone to errors, lack in timely resolution, and regulatory complexities and non-compliance and violations become significant costs due to flaws in performance and quality.
Hey, Stan, so I just want to jump in for a second. So
sure.
I was, when you guys first told us back, when you started this journey with us that you wanted to do something in inspections, I was like, inspections, like that's not something I've ever thought about much. But as we've gone on this journey, I've realized like just how broadly applicable it is and how important it is to health and safety and so on. And, as you go through some of these challenges, I think, folks just need to understand this is a highly manual process that is critical for it to be accurate and high quality. And so I think what's exciting is what you guys have done to this, and love to hear you talk more about kind of what intelligent inspections are and what kind of that transformation is.
Exactly, and I think one of the other main aspects of it is, it's a large field force. And therefore, with that and the manual processes, you get those inconsistencies and not only flaws in what you're inspecting. I mean, that's the intent, is to identify them, but flaws in how you're inspecting, and the guidelines and the standards, and the consistency. Then on top of it, which we'll talk about as well, is then what are the right corrective actions? Where is the follow-up? What are the resolutions? How are you monitoring? All of that, is around us every day. I had a fence put in. Someone had to come and double check that I wasn't on my neighbor's property. I mean, that's a very simple example, but there are much more critical inspections and compliance that needs to take place. Otherwise, there's penalties and fines.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. And so like you're taking basically like an AI first approach, really thinking about, how automation and AI can help, augment and support those folks out in the field such that they're able to focus and do a better job, at what they're trying to do and be more accurate as well.
that's right. Augment and insert and embed intelligence into the workflow.
Yeah,
So
that's
going
awesome.
to the next slide.
Yeah, great.
So with all that said, introducing aHawkAI, our platform, transforming inspections with AI-driven workflow automation. We alluded to it in the previous slide, right? It's an end-to-end solution, improving compliance, reducing violations, and delivering insights into the hands of inspectors, right? From planning to post-inspection monitoring, um, allowing productivity and quality guidelines through case management and process orchestration, helping to avoid the cost of non-compliance and faults, which I mentioned before, right? With AI assistance providing contextual decision support throughout the process, inspections shift from being error-prone manual processes to intelligent compliance management.
Great.
The-
Awesome. And so if you could just, there may be people on who don't know much about Aaseya, so maybe just tell us a little bit about Aaseya, and then also why organizations are working with you folks and why you're the right organization to bring this to market.
Sure, sure. Um, why Aaseya? Well, the as I mentioned before, right? Well, I don't know if I mentioned it before, to tell you the truth, but customers recognize our industry expertise, the power of AI insights that we bring, and the speed at which we can deploy. All of that is in addition to the business KPI benefits of our solutions. We focus on workflow-driven enterprise solutions with embedded agentic AI. That's how we deliver business applications, not generic, platforms, if you will.
Sure.
This allows us to achieve business outcomes and operational value for our customers in a significant way and at scale.
Yeah. And you folks have been doing more of custom implementations of inspection solutions for a long time. I think in India and Europe and US. And so you've got a lot of expertise in this. And I think a lot of that was about, hey, how can you take that expertise and codify that into a product that's more scalable and deliver more impact in the marketplace?
And at the same time, configurable. I
Yeah.
think if we could just think back to the original slide, the applicability of inspections crosses many verticals, right? It's not just municipality. It's not just manufacturing. It is a very broad range. And the fact that our platform can be configured, right, to not only dynamically determine what kind of inspection, which we'll see, but dynamically determine what are the criteria, what is the process, what automations can take place, but also be able to modify and hone that based on the specific industry in which we're working.
Right. Awesome. That's great. So let's move into, kind of why you folks chose Launchpad to build this product that you want to take to market.
Launchpad played a critical role in enabling aHawkAI. Between the blueprint-driven, rapid development, pre-built components, connectors, accelerators, an AI native architecture, can't stress that, right? Enough. And the fact that we've got a secure multi-tenant SaaS infrastructure, a cloud native that scales. So it was the right fit to help us quickly, right, bring an enterprise application to the market.
Yeah,
Go to market.
that's awesome. And I think you guys really embody what we talk to providers and builders about, which is, don't focus on the low level stuff that is everything that you have to build to bring a product to market. Focus on really your unique IP and value proposition and the outcomes you want to deliver. And it seems like you've really leveraged Launchpad to really focus on your expertise and the value you provide your clients versus being caught up in lots of engineering and full stack development and cloud ops.
Right.
That's a distraction, quite frankly.
Right.
Yeah.
And we partnered well with our parent company, Yash, as well as well as with Pega.
Yep. Yeah, and we've even worked with you folks on looking at how we leverage your solutions, that you're building on Launchpad within Pega as well, which has been exciting. So, great. Let's jump into the platform and talk a bit more specifically.
Yeah. So an overview of the solution architecture includes our four main pillars. Field inspectors are equipped with mobile-first technology to get their job done. Workflow automation infuses efficiency and consistency into the process, which we talked about were some of the challenges previously, right? Agentic AI helps automate automate document validation, helps generate standardized inspection reports, and detects compliance risks. Huge from a penalty and cost perspective in order to get ahead of that, if you will. We already mentioned the secure, scalable SaaS environment, right? Enables flexible integrations with legacy systems and supports enterprise security controls, role-based access control, encryption, audit trails, transparency, and very important nowadays, right? Data protections.
Yeah. Wow,
All
sounds pretty robust. I mean, in terms of the timeline it's taken for you to build this, and I know you folks have had a small development team, engaged in this, and so you've got a pretty broad, deep, set of capability that you're bringing to market here, which is awesome. It's great. So let's get into the next piece here, which is how it works in the real world.
How it works in the real world, right? So again, it addresses the end-to-end inspection. I mean, this is obviously, a summarized view, but we address the end-to-end inspection lifecycle from assignments through corrective actions and ongoing monitoring. So we've got 3 scenarios. Actually, if you go to the next one, right, this kind of pretty simple on this one, but the 3 scenarios we'd love to cover today is here, right? How agentic AI does the document validation, where we insert conversational guidance for inspectors out in the field, and then how the results of the process itself can be generated through automation for report summaries, saving time, and again, delivering consistency into the process end to end.
Awesome. Great. So we're going to jump into the demo on each of these 3, kind of capabilities. Again, this is just probably the tip of the iceberg in terms of the capability of the platform. So, folks want to see more, they can certainly reach out to you and your team, but let's get into the demo.
So this is the start, right? The assignment, as we were looking at before, right? An inspector is addressing a performance slip delivered to them. The AI document parsing is actually validating the validity of this inspection assignment, which is critical. If you don't have the right components and you execute an inspection and it's an invalid inspection, that's not great. And if you look at some of the wording in there, right, the name wasn't right. The signature, which is I think is great, the signature was just printed. It wasn't an authentic signature. These are things that would make this inspection invalid. AI catches that ahead of time before investing the time into the inspection itself, right? Things that an inspector might even miss, tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
Now an updated authorization is delivered. It reviews that authorization, and when we get there, it now says the inspection is valid. Let's go ahead. So what we've seen here, right, is that the inspector's permit was validated to proceed. The documents were verified in order to proceed. It reduces manual checks, improves compliance, and is obviously faster at document validation than reviewing it manually.
Yeah.
Well, I like here also that, it's something that just sort of happened, we take for granted, but you're dealing with attached files, you're dealing with file processing here. Launchpad manages all that, so it's securely stores your files and makes them part of your business data, right? So in this case, you were able to validate the file that was uploaded, but it's just part of the data that's part of the case. So you can treat it like anything else, do validations, AI decisions on it, and that just kind of comes with the platform. So that's cool to see.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Should we move to the next one?
Yeah, please.
Great.
So on this one, right, inspection assistant, the inspector is out in the field performing the inspection and is now engaging with our AI agent for guidance, right, chat guidance, asking, so based on the things that I've seen, the checklist I've gone through, what are the risks? What are the corrective actions that should be incorporated? What, if any, additional checks should I do? All delivered through our AI agent. Things that, again, from a manual process perspective, some inspectors may be versed in the corrective actions. Some very well, some maybe not so well. Some may be better versed in additional follow-ups, but the AI agent really helps insert those insights for intelligent inspections.
Very cool.
Cool.
Awesome.
And even in that one, we didn't really show up, but things like referring to policy documents, referring to guidelines, even referring to the historical performance of that entity's inspections can be brought up and delivered to the inspector real time on the scene, if you will, all through the conversational agent, right?
Yeah.
Did we have this exact violation before? What was the corrective action last time? Asking and having, like I said before, a interaction with the agent on site, real time.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Let me get this.
And we might have missed it because there's a little nuance in there, but I'll just speak to it. There's a footnote in there that says these recommendations are AI generated. Please verify for accuracy, right?
Yeah.
Responsible
Right.
AI, keeping human verification in the loop.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. All right. Let's go through the third use case.
Generating the report summary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the contrast that you're showing here as well, because you have this inspector out in the field and they'd be on a mobile device and they're able to work through a set of guided steps and forms, but they're also able to chat with the case as well. And
Exactly.
even here, get a summary.
And so this provides a summary of the inspection based on, again, guided workflow,
Yeah.
process orchestration, standards and compliance, and generates what you could see would be very time consuming, right, for an inspector to write up, if you will, right?
Sure.
The AI agent summarizes the findings, inserts some of the insights. So things like that conversational agent that the inspector, as he was going through the inspection, may have asked, can decide whether or not to have that be a part of the report summary. So things like the corrective action, as he verifies what the AI agent said, he can have that incorporated into the report. The history, he could have that incorporated into the report if he or she feels it's should be inserted into the report summary. Again, all auto generated.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, I imagine from an outcomes perspective, the inspectors can now probably get more inspections done. They're more accurate, they're more compliant, and probably their job satisfaction is better as well because there's less administrative work and they can really focus on more of the physical world stuff and the stuff that they probably, quite frankly, enjoy more as opposed to having to type up these reports at the end of the day.
Right, and it's the intelligence into the inspection, right?
Yep.
And consistency into the inspection, and the consequences of poor inspections because of admin are pretty significant when you talk about penalties, violations, when we talk about manufacturing flaws and defects that are way down the road of assembly, if you will, right? And now you need to, it's like we used to always say in development, right? Finding flaws in testing is much more expensive than finding flaws, right, during design. And that's why, these inspection quality gates are very critical to, one, not only be performed, but be performed accurately and with intelligence.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. And do we have one more or did I make a mistake?
I think you made a mistake.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. Maybe I should have an inspection of my work here. All right. So why don't we do the wrap up here, Stan, in
Sure.
terms of what we've seen? That'd be
Sure.
great.
So it's just a summary of what we saw, right? AI is embedded directly into the workflow lifecycle, performing operational tasks like document validation, report generation, and contextual guidance, real-time conversational guidance for the inspectors. It determines the parameters of what is required for the inspection and required for the skills of the inspector. We didn't talk much on that, but that assignment of that first one, the permission slip and assignment, is also based on the inspection, the category of inspection, the availability of the inspector, and the skills of the inspector, right? Very, very crucial parts of an underqualified inspector for a very important inspection is not a good thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
And the insights that are delivered, again, real time, end to end, through process orchestration and agentic AI.
Very cool. And so I guess as you look at, where the product is and where you guys are going, maybe just talk a bit about like where you see this going for Aaseya and kind of the impact that you can deliver on the market.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned before, right? aHawkAI is designed industry agnostic platform. We support a wide range of compliance, regulatory, quality, health and safety, manufacturing inspection requirements. The configurable platform is key, and even within those different verticals, the different kinds of inspections that can be configured into the platform is also very key, and gives us a lot of flexibility. Even customized checklists for a given entity are possible. The different scoring models, approval workflows, reporting structures. Again, we didn't talk much about reporting. You can imagine with a very manually intensive inspection program, getting centralized reporting, aggregated reporting, management reporting is a nightmare in and of itself, right? Not only for the effort required to get it, but the accuracy of the information, frankly, is subject to flaws.
Yeah.
And so with that, the business value expands beyond just inspections. There are many other use cases within the scope of possible. And we've just listed a few here, just representative.
Sure. Wow, that's awesome. So it seems like you've built a lot of depth and specificity around inspections, but you also have a flexible capability to work with your clients to say, address it and tailor it to their specific needs. They've got some customization capability as well. And so I think that's really a combination of, your expertise and, what you've done with the platform, and then, kind of what's been unlocked with Launchpad. And so, Tim, I don't know if you want to kind of highlight some of those things here. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you've done with this application, but also your vision of where you're taking your industry knowledge and experience into those other areas, like you mentioned. But that's exactly what we're looking to enable with Launchpad, right? So starting with your AI blueprint, you're able to take your ideas, your domain knowledge, your company's extensive experience with this, and turn that into an actual design and the starting of an application that you can demonstrate before you've even started building, and hit the ground running with your development. And the cool part is, like you mentioned before, right? As more and more customers subscribe to your app, their users start using it, the platform itself will scale up and out and meet your demand. So you're really able to focus on like what are the outcomes you're looking for, what work does it need to get done on their behalf, and you're able to do all that with aHawkAI.
Yeah, and often, people ask, how quickly, right? How quickly can we get started? The AI-driven blueprinting and low-code configuration really helps us deploy this core solution in just a few weeks, or at least the blueprint within a few weeks. We can go live in approximately 10 weeks. Blueprinting 1 to 2 weeks, configuration 3 to 6 weeks, and another, I don't know, I do know actually, another 3 to 4 weeks for testing and deployment. So overall average, we can be up and running full application in 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Awesome stuff. Good stuff. So, so for folks that want to get started and want to work with you folks around the solution and need help with this capability, certainly go to your website, go to sales@aseya.com. If you're looking to know more about, how Launchpad can help build solutions that you want to build and take to market, I'd encourage you to go to launchpad.io, sign up for Launchpad Explore, which is a free account, and then reach out to us, and we're happy to have a conversation around particular use cases and so on. And you can just do that through contacting sales. So, we're Aaseya and Launchpad have been working together closely for the last several years, and I'd say Aaseya has been a longtime partner of Pega, so we're excited to have you and glad to have you on stand to represent Aaseya and help take us through this story today. So before we get into questions, I just wanted to highlight again the next couple of events we've got. So we've got the Modernizing Payment Investigations coming up in March 24th, and then a Launchpad Live for our community on March 26th. So make sure you register for those. And then with that, we will wrap up. I appreciate everybody coming and joining us today. And Lena, do you want to guide us through some of the questions that have come in as we've been talking here?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a couple questions about Launchpad, which I'll start with. Tim, maybe you can speak to this one. When you build on Launchpad, does it support trying different AI models?
Yeah, absolutely. So whether you're using generative AI as part of a step in your workflow where you're like they showed with summarization or analysis or validation, we let you choose from many different models, whether you're looking at Amazon's offerings, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and so you can really pick and choose, but you don't have to bring your own endpoints, you don't have to bring your own keys or anything. We handle all that for you, and the same with the agentic processing as well.
Got it. Thank you. And Stan, I'll go to you. Many vendors claim AI capabilities. What makes aHawkAI different? And Jason, Tim, you can jump in as well.
Excuse me. One, the conversational aspect of it, and the fact that it's embedded, the agents are embedded in the workflow itself. And so it's more than excuse me, it's more than just the LLM. It's actually really helping to automate and productize, if you will, the orchestration of the process itself. And really, that's the big benefit, is bringing insights into the hands of the inspectors. Again, as we mentioned, it's a very manual process, and leveraging the agents and the AI for the automations, as well as the historical nature of entities inspections is critical. And with that embedded in the workflow itself, it really brings a lot of value to the process.
Makes sense. Stan, what happens if AI makes a mistake?
I did mention before, I'm just glad I footnoted that out of I think it was the second scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
The transparency and auditability of the AI insights is built into the platform. There is human in the loop processing, so it's not just a given, right? Like I said, there's the transparency, human in the loop framework for quality and insurance. We ensure that there is human aspects that intervene, especially in high risk or statistically significant scenarios where the AI needs to be, double checked and trained for future learning as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, complementing the human. And the next question is related as well. Is it feasible to replace traditional manual inspections with an AI agent inspector for primary oversight while maintaining a human-in-the-loop framework for quality assurance? Specifically, I'm looking to leverage intelligent sampling to ensure humans only intervene in high-risk edge case or statistically significant scenarios, a step moving in the direction of autonomous enterprises.
I think the answer is yes. That's
It almost sounds like the question's asking about
Yes.
like deflection of physical inspections, and maybe doing some statistical analysis and predictive stuff up front, and then having people focus on higher risk things. And so I'm not sure if you folks have built that already out, but I know that, through your expertise and what Launchpad could do, we could certainly build that in, and that would be certainly that could be done. And a lot of that's going to be based on the context of the particular industry or the specific client and the space that they're in, because there may be legal requirements or compliance requirements that actually require a physical inspection. And there may be situations where you could do some statistical deflection that says, hey, look, this is a very low risk threshold, and so we can actually skip these and then focus our people on other higher risk things that are, meeting certain criteria.
Yeah, and great point. And we did in some scenarios use AI models to examine product defects using smart AI driven sampling to identify quality issues, product flaws, and things of that nature. But as you mentioned, the scenario, the inspection itself dictates the amount of AI versus human intervention or human oversight required.
Yeah.
Excellent. And let's finish with this one. So how does Launchpad manages data privacy and protection?
Tim, you want to take that?
Yeah, so that's really a crucial kind of baked into the Launchpad platform. So there's a lot of layers to it, right? Whether it's role-based access control, attribute-based access control, which you can build, configure right into your application, but also the data isolation, tenant isolation. The platform is built from the ground up to be multi-tenant, so we're very have robust ways to keep data from different customers in its own places, as well as compliance with different industry regulations around that. But we look to kind of take that off the table, but also give you the flexibility to configure the access and other things that you need based on your business requirements. So
Great.
And the scalability.
Yeah, auto scaling certainly is a huge one, and so, imagine bringing a product to market. Stan, you don't need to worry about, in your team, scaling to thousands or millions of users. You just focus on selling the product as much as you can, and then also in terms of agility and changing and addressing new market needs, you've got that flexibility to kind of evolve to the market needs and add in more and more AI capabilities as well. So awesome. This was a great discussion. Stan, thank you so much again for joining us on the call and walking us through your story and about what you've built with Launchpad and the exciting things you're doing with inspections. Tim, thanks for joining as well and weighing in on some of the more product specific things. And with that, we'll wrap up. Thank you, Lena, for making sure this was a success today and getting through all the questions. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time.